In NCIS, Origins Episode 13, the long-standing mystery about Mike Frank's son, Liam O'Neill, is finally solved. It reveals that Franks was once in a relationship with a woman named Mary O'Neill in 1982, and she is the mother of Liam, whom Franks had no idea about until years later. This retcon contradicts Frank's previous statement in NCIS Season 4, where he claimed that Mary left him, whereas the new episode shows that it was Franks who chose to leave her. The episode also deepens Frank's tragic backstory, highlighting his emotional struggles and further enhancing the sorrow surrounding his life, especially after his time in Vietnam. However, this revelation creates a plot inconsistency with the earlier series, adding a new hole to the story. NCIS just solved its most tragic mystery after 18 years, but also created a Frank's plot hole. One lingering mystery from arguably NCIS' most tragic twist is finally answered 18 years later in NCIS Origins, but it creates a new plot hole along the way. While the NCIS franchise is not new to spin-offs, the Mark Harmon spearheaded offshoot is the first one to be set in the past. Picking up after Leroy Jethro Gibbs' family is murdered, NCIS Origins follows him as he rebuilds his life, which includes joining the then-called NIS. The first few episodes of the prequel stayed true to this premise, but as the show goes on, its storytelling has continued to expand. Since returning from its mandatory winter break, NCIS Origins has used Austin Stoll's young Gibbs so sparingly, even though the outings are still bookended by Harmon's narration as the original version of the character. Instead, Kyle Schmidt's Mike Franks has been at the center of its storytelling. After learning about his pre-Vietnam War deployment life in Texas, NCIS Origins Episode 13, Monsoon reveals what happened to him after he came back from being deployed. Subtly, the offering also answers a major mystery that stemmed from arguably Frank's biggest heartbreak on the flagship that happened 18 years ago. NCIS Origins Episode 13 introduced Liam O'Neill's mother. The mother of Mike Frank's son in NCIS has been unknown until now. As old Gibbs talks about his most loyal friend and mentor, NCIS Origins Episode 13 goes back in time to 1982 Texas. The flashbacks establish that Franks was in some sort of romantic relationship with a woman named Mary O'Neill. The outing doesn't spend much time in the setting, because they eventually split up after Franks chose to take a mule job that would have taken him to San Diego. Despite that, considering the name and the timeline, Mary is the mother of Liam O'Neill, Frank's surprise son in NCIS Season 4, Episode 18, Iceman. By the time this was revealed in the flagship series, Muse Watson's version of the character was already an established guest star in the flagship. His relationship with Gibbs allowed him to pop in and out, especially after the then MCRT leader's near-death experience. In NCIS Season 4, Episode 18, however, his return was driven by his own ties to Liam. Unfortunately, even Gibbs didn't know about the boy's existence, because his father only learned about him a couple of years prior to him being a victim. It turned out, Liam tracked down his dad after his mother died. Franks claimed that Mary left him, but NCIS Origins Episode 13 reveals otherwise. It was Franks who walked out on Mary. It's great to see that CBS is using NCIS Origins story to fill some gaps in its narrative. The franchise has been on the air for more than 2 decades, but because of its procedural format, it hasn't been able to fully explore the personal lives of characters beyond its core cast. The prequel has done a great job fleshing out Gibbs' grief and thirst for revenge during this time, so it's great to see that Franks also benefits from the show being able to retroactively build on what's known about the character's future. Franks offered some basic information about his relationship with Mary, saying that they were only together for 6 months and that he didn't know that she was pregnant when she left him. As seen in Monsoon, however, it was Franks who chose to leave. Mary O'Neill's NCIS Origins Episode 13 is well executed, if not for a small but important plot hole that it creates. Back in 2007's Iceman, Franks told Gibbs that it was Mary who left him. They didn't have a lot of time discussing the matter, because MCRT was also trying to solve the case. That said, Franks offered some basic information about his relationship with Mary, saying that they were only together for 6 months and that he didn't know that she was pregnant when she left him. As seen in Monsoon, however, it was Franks who chose to leave. Liam's mother twist makes his story in NCIS so much sadder. It highlights how Frank's NCIS life had been defined by tragedy. Frank's and Mary's last interaction in NCIS Origins Episode 13 is also the last time that Liam's parents were ever in contact. For what it's worth, he appears to be internally struggling after his time in Vietnam, and as Monsoon highlights, it isn't until he meets Tish later on that he is able to get back on his feet. While Franks and Tish also end up separating at the end of the same outing, NCIS Origin suggests, through Harmon's narration, that she was his true love. That said, the way Watson's version talked about Mary in NCIS Season 4, Episode 18 established that despite their ugly, and now confusing split, they had some fond memories. Although they didn't get to spend much time together as a family, Franks and Liam were able to immediately connect when they connected just 2 years before the latter's death. Many NCIS characters have tragic personal lives, but somehow, NCIS Origins just made Frank's worse.